Tiger Woods is injured. Will we see Tiger Woods on the golf course again? Myles Garrett signs a massive deal. Is Myles Garrett a fraud? Also, who are the best NFL free agents still available? We are going to settle the SGA versus Joker MVP debate, Luka versus the refs, and Caitlin Clark has been hitting the gym. All that more coming up next on The Big Lead. What is up and welcome to The Big Lead. My name is Doug McCain, credential member of the media. Been covering sports for over a decade, 24/7 Sports, Bleacher Report, Dodgers Nation. I do NFL radio for Westwood One. And if you're new to the channel, first, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. Also, comment Luka Magic down below. When we hit 2,000 subscribers, we are giving away a Lakers Luka Doncic jersey to one winner. All you have to do is comment down below. I got my man J-Rob, the great John Robinson the fourth, is joining us. Of course, he was at the Player's Choice, and he was a college football player. This guy knows ball with the best, and we'll check in with him in a second here. But we got some breaking news right before the show, and that is that Tiger Woods has suffered an injury, and his future is in question. He released a statement on X that reads, "As I began to ramp up my own training and practice at home, I felt a sharp pain in my left Achilles, which was deemed to be ruptured. This morning, Dr. Charlton Stockton of Hospital for Special Surgery in West Palm Beach, Florida, performed a minimally invasive Achilles tendon repair for a ruptured tendon. The surgery went smoothly, and we expect a full recovery," added Dr. Stockton. "I am back home now and plan to focus on my recovery and rehab. Thank you for all the support." So that definitely is a blow for not just golf fans, for sports fans. You want to see Tiger Woods prolong whatever's left in his career. When Tiger's on the golf course, golf is better. Sports is better. And it's unclear how long he's going to be sidelined for. He hasn't played on the PGA Tour yet this year. He was set to make his season debut at the Genesis Invitation last month, which is a tournament that he hosts every year, but he withdrew after the passing away of his mother. And Woods, he's completed some team stuff in the TGL and events in Florida, so he was anticipating making a return, but we don't know what his future is going to look like. And he has dealt with injuries over the last couple of years. He's underwent major back surgeries. He's had his back fused. He's had knee issues. He almost lost his right leg after a car crash in Southern California in 2021. And he has said that his goal, even at this stage of his career, where he's widely considered to be the best golfer in the history of the sport, that he still wanted to compete in all the four major championships each season. And this is definitely going to make that difficult. He did miss the cut at 3 of the 4 majors last year. He finished 60th at Augusta National in the Masters. He withdrew from the Genesis Invitational earlier, getting sick last season. So he's dealt with stuff, and it happens, right? Father Time is undefeated. You would hope that a sport like golf, right, where you're not crashing into guys like football, you're not jumping up and down like the NBA or Major League Baseball, where it's just that quick twitch leaves you and it's tough to hit fastballs and stay in the sport, that hopefully he could have stayed on and furthered his career. But he's actually finished just 3 of his last 13 tour events dating back to 2020. He's either missed the cut or withdrawn from the other 10. So he struggled to stay on from a health perspective, and he's also struggled from a competitive perspective. So that leaves next season's Genesis Invitational as the most likely return for Tiger Woods. So when will we see him back? That's the $1 million question. We could see him back at the Genesis Invitational next year. And yeah, look, if you're a golf fan, if you're a sports fan, this hurts. I mean, if you did not get to see Tiger Woods during his prime, I mean, I saw towards the end of it, but I mean, if you did see the end of it or the beginning of it, this is one of those guys where if you go back into a sports time machine, it's one of the first stops you make. is witnessing Tiger Woods in the late 90s, winning his first Masters by 12 strokes and getting his first green jacket in 1997, being the only golfer in the history of the sport to complete the Tiger Slam. Why is it called the Tiger Slam? Because he's the only guy to do it, winning every single major in the course of a year. You look at his highlights, 213 yards from a bunker with a 6-iron, just insane stuff that other golfers don't do. And my favorite thing about Tiger Woods is there's people on this planet that know two things about golf. One is Tiger Woods, and two is that you have to put the ball in the hole with a club. Like, basic knowledge, it's all you know. Tiger Woods is that guy. And you look at this current generation of golfers, I think that it's gotten competitive, it's gotten interesting for sure, but Tiger Woods in his prime would still be the best player on the planet by a mile, by a landslide. This stat always blows my mind. This was from last year. Scottie Scheffler has been ranked number 1 for 73 total weeks. To catch Tiger's record of total weeks at number 1, Scheffler needs to hold the top spot continuously until October 21st, 2035. Okay. It's just incredible the career that he's put together. I think you could make the case. This man in his prime, he was undoubtedly the most dominant, intimidating, and relentless athlete that we've ever seen in any sport ever. Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Muhammad Ali, those type of guys. That table is the table that he's sitting at, and it's going to be sad if we don't get to see him back out there on the golf course. And just with the version of him that we're going to get is definitely going to be the big question. My dad used to always tell me, he's a big golf fan, that Tiger Woods was the Jimi Hendrix of golf. Jimi Hendrix changed the way you looked at an electric guitar, the way you use a guitar. Tiger Woods did the same thing with the golf club, and his influence, what he's done to the game will never change. Kind of one of my favorite stories too, I heard about the Tiger effect in Tiger Woods, is there was a point in the late 90s and the early 2000s that athletes, there were top 20 golfers were in a position where they did not want to compete and train because they realized that if you did that, you would have to match his work ethic. You have to be as relentless. And to do that, you'd be ruining your life. There's golfers that have talked about this, that because of the existence of Tiger Woods, they practice less, they train less, they played less golf because they knew with his existence, they were going to be making a top 20 golfing paycheck, and he was going to do all the winning. Because the other world is, hey, you do all this training and you push yourself to the brink, and then you still are finishing a distant second. So, yeah, it definitely hurts to see Tiger Woods suffer this injury. Tiger Woods is one of the GOATs, but J-Rob, you hate to see us. I mean, just as a GOAT, an undisputed GOAT of his sport, to have to suffer an injury through like this.
I think he's one of the few undisputed. Like, there's no actual debates when it comes to the sport of golf and Tiger Woods. I mean, D-Mac, his history with injuries it started back in 94. You know, he had that tumor in his knee in 94 when he was just 18. Then, you go to 2022, cyst removed from his knee, shoulder in 2006, ACL the year after, knee surgery in 2008, ACL repair in 2008, torn Achilles tendon in 2008, neck injury in 2010. I mean, the list for Tiger Woods and the body of injuries that he's endured, I mean, I really can't name too many athletes who have been able to still play at a all-world level with the amount of doctor visits that they've had to endure throughout a career. And so, I hate to see Tiger like this, but I would say this, D-Mac, it's probably unpopular. I'd actually want Tiger Woods to finally kind of listen to his body. Because he's like, he wakes up every morning and listens to David Goggins.
Yeah.
He's mind over matter. I mean, do you remember when in his doc where he did the Marine level training to get prepared for a Masters? I mean, this is a guy who has been mind over matter throughout his career. And look, it has worked because he has won despite his health. But I feel like at this point in his age, it's like, it's just really hard to see because his body has been, 23 years, his body's been legitimately breaking down. And so This is hard. This is hard to see for Tiger, but I mean, all I can say is that I'm optimistic for him, and I hope for the best.
Look, if he can play any golf, he's good for the game. And I think that he doesn't have the passion of being a broadcaster. He doesn't need to go that route. His role in golf is to be a steward for the game, to grow the popularity of the game. And I think if he's got anything left, I mean, give me a Tiger Woods out there. Just you had me at the red and black, right? I mean, you had me at the Tiger logo and just the overall mystique and the juice. And I like you bring up those injuries because I think one of his biggest accomplishments as a golfer was proving that golfers are athletes.
Yeah.
And he changed the narrative of that. I mean, guys, hitting the bench and getting swole and looking big, he totally changed the game for that. But that's going to be the interesting thing. As far as the GOAT debate, I mean, there are people out there, Jack Nicklaus, the Golden Bear, just because he has 18 majors compared to Tiger Woods' 15. Tiger Woods does have 88 tour wins. That has matched Sam Snead's all-time record. But yeah, I don't think that there's anyone out there. I mean, it's like saying Bill Russell's better than LeBron or Michael Jordan, right? Something like that. I mean, all respect to Bill Russell, man. You did your thing. You were definitely one of the best players, but you're not the best player. So yeah, get well, Tiger Woods. Okay, switching gears to the association. A bad loss for the purple and gold yesterday. You're going up against a Nets team that you should still beat. A Nets team that had 21 wins and a Lakers team that, yes, you were playing without Rui and Jackson Hayes and LeBron James, but you lose 111 to 108. 111 to 108. It just was not a pretty night for the purple and gold. You're going through a rough stretch where you got multiple back-to-backs. You're playing the Bucks. You're playing the Denver Nuggets. You're trying to do whatever you can to hold on to the second seed in the Western Conference, and they just did not play well. Even as undermanned as they were, they just did not play well. 15 turnovers that led to 19 points. 16 offensive rebounds that led to 16 points. You got good games from Goodwin. Dalton had a good game. Gabe had a good game. There were some positives, but that was a Nets team that had lost 7 straight games. You had no business losing to that Brooklyn Nets team, even when you were undermanned. And JJ Redick talked about it after the game, the performance from his team and what went wrong for the Lake Show.
No, I think it was just an overall mentality just to take shortcuts tonight. We just wanted to take shortcuts. Too many. Yeah, they scored 20 points on us gambling. They had 16 offensive rebounds. We ball watched all night. We said no dare shots. I'll go through it. They probably made 6, 7 uncontested threes. Just shortcuts. You want to be a good team, you want to win in the NBA, you got to do the hard stuff. We couldn't even pass to each other. We couldn't enter our offense. Running ball screens literally at half court. Yeah, that's going to end up in a turnover. I don't know what we're doing. No, we just got to be better, and we'll use practice to clean things up and make sure everybody's on the same page.
Everyone's got to be on the same page. You just need better shooting from your best players that are available. Last night, Luka Doncic goes 8 for 26, had 22, 12, and 12, did get a triple-double in a losing effort. But Austin Reeves has not looked good since coming back from the injury. He goes 3 for 14. So you look at a Austin Reeves, Luka Doncic combination that you're hoping for more efficiency, and they combine to go 11 for 40. That's just not going to get the job done. Goodwin, like I said, good game off the bench, 6 for 8, 17 points. Dalton connects, some promising signs from him. He goes 8 for 18, 19 points. Gabe Vincent continues to play solid defense and goes 8 for 12, 24 points. So there were some solids, and I think that the positive take in all of this for the Lakers is it is a blessing in that you're hoping to get LeBron James fully healthy for the stretch run, and then also you're getting more confidence to your role players and guys that you're going to need to step up if this team is going to make a deep run in the playoffs and try to get back to the finals. But here was JJ Redick talking about the positives and those role players that really had some good games.
Yeah, I thought we made some good pocket decisions. I thought when we were able to get them in the blender, we generated good offense. I actually thought there was some good to greats that we missed throughout the game. I think those guys played well. They were obviously putting a lot of defensive attention onto Luka and Austin, and neither of those guys shot the ball well. But they got 22 assists between them.
22 assists between them. You had some good moments. Like I said, Gabe Vincent, I'm giving him an A. This was the best game we've seen from Gabe Vincent in his time with the purple and gold. He's continuing to increase from the scoring. I mean, he led the team in scoring, went from 6 for 9 from beyond the arc. I mean, he's knocking down open shots. He got a late 3 in the fourth. They kept the Lakers in this one. With so many players injured, you're going to need him to step up. So Vincent has certainly done that. Luka, 22, 12, and 12, 8 for 26. That's a C game from Luka. That's a C game. The offensive communication he mentioned after the game just wasn't where it needed to be. I like the accountability from him from that standpoint, but he has got to learn that, hey, if LeBron's out, what version of Luka Doncic do we need to compete and win games? And he's going to know that you need more efficiency. You need to communicate. You need to get the best out of your teammates. And I think for Luka, he just needs to be A-B version of Luka for them to escape this stretch of games that they're on. He got a tech, and we'll talk about that in a second here because a lot of thoughts on that. But a C game from him, and I'm giving a D- game for Austin Reeves. 3 for 14, 1 for 5 from beyond the arc. He's back, but when is he going to be the Austin Reeves back? When are we going to get the Austin Reeves that we saw when we were talking about the Snow Time Lakers, right? When we were talking about a legitimate big three, Austin Reeves, that, the hillbilly Mamba, or as I like to call him, the LeBron James, right? When we get that version of Austin Reeves back, and hopefully he can just get out of this little swoon that he's in and find a rhythm. Dalton Connect, I'm giving an A for Dalton Connect. I think that was one of his best games for his rookie season. And I like the aggression in the paint. I mean, he had a really nice throw down the second quarter, really nice dunk. And guys like Gabe and Connect, they were stepping up, making big buckets. So he's developing. I'm going to give him an A. Jared Vanderbilt, it's tough to put his contributions in a box score. He goes 3 for 3, 7.6 boards. It was your Vando game. The defense was great. He scored when he had opportunities to do so, but just not that big of an impact. But kind of for what he does, I'll give him a B-. Trey Jemison, he goes 1 for 3, didn't really make a big contribution. He's just not a great rebounder, too. Wasn't scoring. He's someone that, if you wanted a back alley brawl, he's that dude. But to win a basketball game just wasn't his best night. Got to give him a D. Jordan Goodwin, 17 points, 8 boards, 6 for 8, 5 for 6 from beyond the arc. I mean, he was incredible in this game. He was great with his perimeter defense. He was grabbing rebounds, was efficient. A for him. Shake Milton, nothing to say about it. Shake goes 6 minutes. But JJ Redick, got to grade the coach on this one. Got to give him a C. Got to get your guys up to play the Nets. You got to find a way to get to Luka and get a more efficient showing from him. But really the big takeaway from me in yesterday's game was Luka Doncic versus the Zebras, versus the Foot Locker employees, versus the refs. Because I was hoping that things would change for Luka Doncic when he became a Laker. That you're going to start to see him get more of those calls and that his whistle was going to improve. But clearly that's not the case because yesterday he was roughed up. Look at this bump here by Claxton. He's walking away, just boom, dirty play, bumps him, gets nothing. He's looking around. He's wondering what the hell is going on. And the Lakers have to do something about this. Call the league office. They have got to complain about officiating because it has been horrible. They continue to be on the wrong side of the whistle. There's inconsistencies on both sides of the floor. And it's just crazy how much these referees don't give a superstar like Luka Doncic the superstar level whistle. And we saw this with Shaq for so many years, right? He's bigger, he's stronger. So you don't call some of those bumps just because he's a bigger, stronger player that could endure it. But clearly, there's something that's going wrong. I mean, if Luka Doncic was getting SGA's whistle, he'd be putting up Wilt numbers. I mean, you saw the other night, SGA goes up, Russell Westbrook doesn't even blink at him, and he falls and he gets a call. So I think that's another frustrating thing for me. Watching SGA and the calls that he gets, Luka doesn't get that same respect. Luka also, look, I hear people, Luka complains to the ref. When you complain to the ref, you get a reputation. That's why you have to take this stupid element out of NBA officiating. When 20,000 fans show up in an arena and they spend a lot of money for those seats, they don't come to watch you officiate. They come to watch Luka Doncic and the great stars of the game. So what are we doing here? And why are we mad that he's mad? I mean, he's at 10 technical fouls. And per NBA rules, if he gets 16, he's going to be suspended for a game. So that's something that you have to monitor and make sure it doesn't get too close on that one. But I'm scared. I'm scared. I'll tell you why. I'm scared of an OKC Lakers matchup. Because if we see an OKC Lakers matchup and Lou Dort can go full Vontaze Burfict on Luka Doncic and not get the call, and on the other side, SGA is getting every call, I just don't know if this Lakers team, even with the improvements that they have made, can overcome that. But here was Luka Doncic after the game talking about the officiating and how he felt that there was some unfairness with that.
How do you feel physically? One, you look at, you were obviously sore from Saturday, and when you say not fair, is that just the number of calls, or is that sort of things they were getting away with that maybe even if they, were being called, you didn't like that kind of thing?
I'm not gonna say anything, but I think everybody saw the game, so they know what happened. Thank you.
So he didn't want to say too much, but here was JJ Redick also talking about the technical fouls and the officiating on Luka.
No, I think he's been fine. Believe me, I've seen Luka get on the officials worse. I think he's been fine. It's just frustration, obviously tonight. Frustration, feeling like he got fouled some, and then frustration with, frankly, how he played. So it's part of it.
Okay, so he doesn't want to get fined. I get it. That's understandable. But if you watch that game last night, if Luka Doncic just gets the normal calls that he should have gotten, the Lakers win that game. Even late in that game, they still had an opportunity to make things interesting. Austin Reeves, he banked in a three-pointer to keep the Lakers alive. They give the offense a rebound, and the Nets made the free throw. And then Luka, he hits that wild three-pointer with 10.6 seconds left to play to make it a 2-point game. And the Lakers, they gave up the 3-point play to Clowney. They're playing the free throw game. But still, I mean, they still even had a chance despite the free throw disparity. At the half, it was 16-2, the free throw advantage. You look at the game in its entirety, the Nets shoot 30 free throws, go 19 for 30. The Lakers go 15 for 19. I mean, if you've watched Luka Doncic throughout his career, there are some games where there's some inefficiency and the ball's not going in. There's a lid on the hoop, but he still is able to have a massive contribution and impact on the game because he's living at the free throw line. So if it wasn't as egregious as what we saw yesterday, well, he would have been at the line. I mean, if you hit 4 more free throws for Luka Doncic, they win that game. So to me, look, the NBA, I mean, this is supposed to be the Lakers. You want them to win. And at the very least, you just want it to be fair. He shouldn't have to go out there and play football and MMA while everyone's out there playing basketball. I just don't. I hate this. And I hate the physical toll it's going to take on him too. But look, I hate to be the blame the refs guy. I'm usually never that guy. I'm never blame the refs. Never blame the umpire guy. I'm not that guy. When you talk to these players, they almost never blame the refs because it's a long game. They see things that fans and analysts and reporters just don't see that impact winning and losing. But last night, we need an investigation, man. I mean, come on.
Refs last night were awful. Like, the stripes were horrible last night. But I'm starting to feel like certain players in the NBA, because of maybe their reputation with how they go back and forth with refs, it seems like as a group, the refs kind of decide, like, these players, we're not going to give them everything they want on the court. Because, look, I get it. Luka has had a career of really berating the refs at times when he doesn't feel like he's being officiated correctly. However, I mean, the stuff against the Nets, D-Mac, it was kind of blatant. Like, I don't care how I personally feel about you as a player. These are fouls. And at the end of the day, a surgeon isn't going to not stitch up that blood clot because they don't like the way your family talks about them in the waiting room, or how you came into the doctor's office. My job is to fix it. If somebody pushes you in the back in the National Basketball Association, by rule, it's a foul. So just because Luka may cursed you out last year in a Dallas versus Cleveland matchup on a Tuesday, it doesn't equate to last night's matchup. Lakers.
That's a fantastic point. I mean, just be consistent. It should never be personal. It should never be personal. But Luka Doncic, we've seen it. We've seen it. It feels like that. What was that? That Aisha Curry tweet during the NBA Finals where she's claiming there's a fix-in. What she says, "I've lost all respect. Sorry, this is absolute rig for money or ratings or not sure which. I won't be silent. Just saw it live. Sorry." We saw it yesterday. I can't explain it, but I do think there's something personal. But the number one thing here, the number one takeaway, the league needs to be proactive about this before the playoffs start, in the event that we get that Lakers Thunder matchup, because I'm afraid to see how that would look in the disparity between SGA and Luka Doncic. Now, speaking of the ratings, well, there's been this huge talk in the National Basketball Association about the ratings and that viewership is down. Well, what do we say on this show? Get superstars in big markets, get better storylines, and you're going to get ratings. I've said it before. I planted my flag. It's not fun to watch sometimes. I understand how it's not as aesthetically pleasing to watch guys chuck 30, 43s a game. It might not be, but it's not the reason why people aren't watching basketball. I know there's people that claim that. I vehemently disagree with that take. People are watching basketball as much as they were because the storylines weren't as compelling. But Luka Doncic going to the Lakers has already revitalized, re-energized the league. Over the weekend, ticket prices for a regular season game between the Celtics and the Lakers were at an all-time high. It was the highest price ticket for a Celtics game, and it's a regular season game. And this came out today. Lakers Celtics averaged 4.61 million viewers on NBA Saturday primetime on NBC, making it the most watched regular season game in 7 years, excluding Christmas Day, and up 92% versus the comparable window. The game peaked at 5.3 million viewers and was the most watched program in primetime on Saturday. So now the NBA has gone from having ratings issues to the Celtics are a championship contender, one of the top three in the East. And then the Lakers, as it stands right now, hopefully they can stay there, are one of the contenders in the West. So that is great for the league. That's great for Adam Silver, who has just not, I think, evolved and put the league in the best spot to gain interest. And look, I will say, I mean, do they count the viewers on Stream East? Do they? If they did, because I mean, is that a play? I mean, do you watch Stream East?
Listen, man, I may or may not have been watching Stream East, but if they could get those numbers, oh man, I think it would actually kill the viewership debate in the NBA. But you can't count those streaming numbers. You know, that's why the government got rid of Stream East, or at least they tried to. Hey,
look, Adam Silver is somewhere. It's the Adam Silver and Ron Palenka were doing the Scarface meme, you know, where they're counting their Benjamins and this and that. Yeah. That's what they're doing. And for everyone out there that thinks there's crazy tinfoil hat wearing Mavericks fans that think there was this conspiracy, I've said on this show that Mavs fans, you know, they died for the betterment of the NBA. For Luka going to the Mavs. But after seeing this and the Lakers' success right out of the gates and these ratings, he's never going to beat the allegations. Like, it's
no, I mean, I don't see Nico Harrison being the general manager of the.
He's hiding in the tunnel now. You see that? He's not even showing him.
How could he be, though? Like, at the end of the day,
this got to move to Costa Rica.
They got
change
7
name
players out there on the court right now. Do you understand what's going on? They had 7 players drafted. They asked Jason Kidd what was his game plan. He said at some points in the game, I looked over to the bench and I couldn't sub anybody in because I had no players. Like, it's a disaster.
It is an unmitigated disaster. Nico Harrison, the Lakers, like I say, he's going to be the first NBA executive to win Executive of the Year for another team. He's going to be the Lakers Executive of the Year. Now, staying in the association, SGA versus the Joker. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander versus Nikola Jokic. They essentially exchanged blows over the weekend where SGA gets the best of them on Sunday and then they play right away and Jokic puts up just an incredible game and all of a sudden it's that debate. Who is going to be the MVP in the NBA? And look, I mean, you look at the comparisons between the two. It's very, very close. But you know, I bring my facts to the fight. I'm going to make my case for both of them. And I'm going to tell you who I think should win in the very end. I'll make the case for SGA. I'll make the case for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The Thunder are 54-10, best record in the NBA. And you're top 4 on both ends. Best efficiency differential, highest adjusted net rating of any team since the 96 Bulls. They have the largest average margin of victory in, wait for it, NBA history. That's how good this Thunder has been this season. That's how dominant they've been against their opponents. And you have to say, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the biggest reason why. So when you're the biggest reason why a team is putting up historic numbers, we just mentioned them with the 96 Bulls, then you have to give heavy conversation to them because the numbers, they're eye-popping. 32.9 points per game, 5.1 rebounds, 6.2 assists, 1.8 steals on 52.5% shooting and 37.2% shooting from beyond the arc. That is a true shooting percentage of 64.3%. The only other players in NBA history that have put up a true shooting percentage of 64.3% with that level of production are Michael Jeffrey Jordan and James Harden. So it's rare air from not just a scoring standpoint, from an efficiency standpoint. Love Kobe Bryant, favorite player of all time. He never came close to this level of efficiency to match with his scoring numbers that we've seen from SGA this season. And then you look at how the Thunder are beating their teams. And how dominant this offense is. 1.11 points per possession with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the pick and roll, and 1.08 points per possession with him in isolation, and 113 points per possession as a post-up. So all of those combined are top 5. So when he has the ball in pick and roll, when he's posting up, when he's in isolation, it's a top either 1 or in the top 5. So that shows you value. And then you look at the Thunder's average 123.7 points per 100. That's right there with the Cavs for the best in the league. And then you look at the fact that not only have the Thunder been a great team, like if you watch any Thunder games, like they're not interesting. You better watch in the first quarter when it's 0-0 because it's not going to be close. They are blowing the brakes off these teams this season. This year, the Thunder are 16.8 points per 100 possessions above their opponent when SGA's on the court. And a lot of that has to do with the defense as well. He's playing great defense. Even though he doesn't guard the team's best player, he does what he's supposed to do. And I think that's what's great with that team. You got Williams and Caruso and Wallace and Dort. They can guard the other team's best player. He can still do what he needs to do and then provide all the firepower on offense. And look, he's 11th in steals. He's second in steals, 11th in deflections. His opponents are shooting 43.2% from the field against him. That's top 20. So you can't say that he's just an offensive player. He still is contributing on the defensive end. So that is my case for SGA. Best player on the best team in basketball, but being the biggest reason why that team is a historically dominant team. But here's the case for Jokic. And the case for Jokic is very, very intriguing as well. So he's on pace to be the third player ever to average a triple-double. 28.8 points per game, 12.9 rebounds, 10.5 assists, 1.8 steals. And I love me some Russell Westbrook. J-Rob can never make me hate Russell Westbrook as much as he tries. Okay? You can't do it. I'll never hate Russell Westbrook. But the difference between Jokic and Russell Westbrook and Oscar Robinson is Joker is doing this triple-double while shooting 57.4% from the field. He's shooting 43% from beyond the arc, 80.6% from the free throw line. So his true shooting is 66%. That's better than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And then you look at the other levels of dominance. There's only been 2 players in NBA history that have scored as efficiently as Joker has with those numbers. Charles Barkley in 88 and the year that Steph Curry won the unanimous MVP. Only Trae Young has created more points via assists than Joker this season. Think about that. I'm not talking about a point guard. I'm talking about a big man. And only Trae Young has created more points via assists than Joker this season. He has generated 66.1 points per 36 minutes. That's 14 more than SGA this season. So he's first in the NBA in touches. He's first in the NBA in front court touches. And why is that? Because Denver is a lottery team without Joker. The Thunder are a playoff team without SGA. The Denver Nuggets might have the worst record, or at least be in the conversation for worst record in the sport without Joker. The Nuggets, they go from scoring 128.4 points per 100 with Joker on the court to 103.8 per 100 with him off the court. They are 23.6 points per 100 better when Joker's on the court. That is the largest on-court, off-court split of any player in the NBA. It's not even close. SGA's on-off court splits are 11.3. So 11.3 to 23.6. So I know I threw a lot of numbers at you. Trust me, I do. But I think that the numbers will tell you that Joker, when you look at PER and things like that, he's on top of him. But SGA, he's got win shares and he's got a lot of advanced stats that favor him. But I think that for me, it's close enough. It's close enough where if SGA wins the MVP over Joker, I'm not going to flip tables over and go crazy and lose my mind. This is a deserving MVP campaign for SGA. From an efficiency standpoint, his MVP this year is a better season than Russell Westbrook's triple-double season in 2016 and 2017. I didn't even want to say that. I didn't want to say that, but it is. That's how good it's been. And he wouldn't be the first player to not be the best player in the league and win the MVP. Derrick Rose wasn't even a top 5 player that year when the MVP. Let's just call it what it is. LeBron was light years better than Derrick Rose. Dwight Howard was better than Derrick Rose that year. Kobe Bryant was better than Derrick Rose. Hell, I might even say Kevin Love was better. I know it sounds crazy, and I love Derrick Rose. I mean, hey, ask your girl. Have your girl ask you, what was it like for prime Derrick Rose? I get it. Like, he puts you in the feels, but I think that it's not over. It's not over. Right now, if you look at the odds for the MVP, SJ's at minus 600. Joker's at plus 425. I think that the Joker is still the best player in the sport. I think he deserves to win the MVP. He would get my vote. But I think that if you're going to vote for SGA, I'm okay with it. But J-Rob, what's the biggest reason why you have Joker or SGA winning the MVP?
Both guys very much deserving. I'm gonna lean towards SGA. You made a point about the Oklahoma City Thunder being a playoff team without SGA. I actually think they'd be closer to being a play-in team instead of a playoff team, because SGA, I think people forget, the Oklahoma City Thunder were the second youngest team in the NBA a season ago and were the first seed in the West. And that engine is because they have their best player is a 26-year-old guard who, I mean, even if he's not shooting great, you can't stop him from getting to the line. He's going to play defense on the other end. He's been like this catalyst in Oklahoma City. And I thought when you said they're winning because of him was like spot on. And ultimately, yeah, they're number one in all these defensive categories. But if you remove the SGA from this team, do you think they'll be such a great three-point shooting team? Will they still be able to generate the same level of offense? I think people fail to realize, like, SGA, because of his ability to score, distribute, play defense, just an offensive juggernaut, he takes so much stress off his teammates. That's why they actually worry me in the playoffs, because I think a guy like Jalen Williams, he's going to be demanded more in the playoffs. And I don't know what he's going to look like having to do that in a high pressure situation. Now, Jokic, he's probably going to average a triple-double this year. I think he is, if he wins MVP, he deserves it. I think both guys flat out deserve it. I don't think I can remember over the last 2 years, the two first and second place finishers in the MVP being so much of a coin flip that, like, D-Mac, if whoever wins it, I really can't be mad either way.
I almost,
it's so close.
I want to hate on SGA. Like, I'm that guy. I wake up, I got my alarm set early in the morning, so extra time to hate. You know what I'm saying? I can't hate SGA. Mm-hmm. Like, he is that good. Having said that, though, if Joker doesn't win the MVP, it's going to go down as probably the best individual season for a player. When you look at the advanced stuff, when you look at the impact, when you look at a lot of the numbers, that any team has ever had. And that kind of worries that any player's ever had. That kind of worries me. Is like, hey, like the NBA should be the league. Like Major League Baseball is kind of seen as like this old fashioned league. They're kind of late to evolve, which is totally true. I mean, they were late on the pitch clock, late on the umpires being able to review and all that stuff in the ABS system. But one thing that Major League Baseball I think is good at is picking their MVPs, where it's okay, who's just the best player? Like Ohtani was winning unanimous MVPs in the dumpster fire that is the Angels.
Right.
Whereas the NBA, I think I hate about the NBA is like, okay, let's always get the best player on the best team. It's not always that, right? It's not always that. I mean, we've seen, Russ, they were a 6 seed.
They were like, what, the 6 seed,
They were a 6 seed, and that team was, they were like, come on, man, like LA Fitness ballers.
No, yeah, they overachieved.
They're like LA Fitness ballers around him. Like he was surrounded by butter knives, but yeah.
Facts. I was going to say, to Russ's credit, I still say that was one of the by far greatest seasons in the history of the sport. Like in the history of the sport, I still give Russ that credit. No
for sure.
question.
Especially coming off KD going and doing what he did. But
exactly the context to it too, for sure.
I think the cool thing about this though is it's not over. Like it really isn't. Like I don't think that the Nuggets are going to be able to catch the Thunder. I mean, that's unrealistic. But if you hold on to that 2 seed. Let's just see how this thing plays out. I want an MVP race. MVP race, but switching to like that's what you want, right? I mean, like if I'm SGA too, it's like I mean they got to think about hey, like the Nuggets have won their championship.
Yeah.
The Thunder, they've disappointed in the playoffs.
Can I ask you this question about SGA in Oklahoma City? Because of their clock being so accelerated, D-Mac, I mean, I think their window was amplified a season ago because of the emergence of SGA. Do you think this will be able to be sustained for another 2 to 3 seasons just due to the fact that a lot of their players are so young and with the way the money is moving in the NBA? How long do you think this window is really as open as you would assume it is in Oklahoma City?
It's kind of weird because it's a great question, J-Rob. That I think the answer to that is like barring health. Sam Presti is great at building a roster on the margins, and they stockpile those draft picks. I mean, the Paul George trade. I mean, that was a finesse job. I mean, that was a fleece, absolute great move by them. But then also look at the Magic, man.
Right.
You thought that Magic team was going to be a dynasty, and then Penny's knee gives out. Shaq goes to the Lakers. So, I mean, sometimes there's these teams where it feels like they're destined for these long runs, and then all of a sudden an injury here, an injury there. But the Thunder have always been a really stable organization. They just really, really haven't.
I agree.
They got more pieces, but it's going to start. It starts and ends with, like, in the NBA, it's like, hey, like, do you have an elite player? It starts right there. You can't have the conversation of winning a championship without one. They have one.
Yeah.
And then it's about kind of accelerate, like Chet Holmgren taking the next step, and Williams, and look, Caruso was a nice piece added, but Dort is a dog. So yeah, I mean, but we'll see. I mean, they have a lot of questions, because I think that my other take on the Thunder is, for as good as they've looked in the regular season, the numbers back up their dominance. For a team that's had that much regular season success, that has an MVP, they're not a feared team. Like the Warriors, they probably would beat the Warriors, but I don't think the Warriors would like be afraid of them. Like they would feel like, oh, with Jimmy and Draymond and Steph, like we got a puncher's chance. Lakers, LeBron, you're gonna beat LeBron.
Nobody's
Luka. They're gonna beat Luka.
Yeah,
Luka owns the Thunder.
Yeah.
So yeah, but we'll see. It's gonna be exciting. Playoffs, March Madness. It's coming up.
It's coming up.
But we got to hit some free agency for the NFL. So it's been a pretty wild free agency so far. I want to just kind of quickly run through some of the best available. Amari Cooper, he's still available, 31-year-old receiver. He got traded from the Browns to the Bills during the season, and he was playing through injuries. I mean, that's the talk on Amari Cooper, is that he wasn't at 100%, and that's why the production was down. And if you're a team out there, you're looking at Godwin going to the Bucks, T. Higgins probably staying with the Bengals, Devontae going to the Rams. By the way, I got a great nickname for Devontae Adams on the Rams. The Adams Ramily. What do you think? The Adams Ramily.
That's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty good. That's pretty good.
But
the shirt would be awesome.
The shirt. We got to get some TBL gear.
Yeah, that
for
would
sure.
be fire.
But what are your thoughts on Amari Cooper? I mean, did you kind of buy into that? Okay, like the injuries were there. I mean, not the sexiest pick for a receiver to add, but he could still produce if he's healthy.
Yeah, regardless of his health, Amari Cooper is still one of the best route runners just in football. And so I do think as a receiver 2, receiver 3 at this point in his career, he's serviceable. but he's not a top dollar receiver anymore. And that's just the reality of that situation.
Yeah. And that's just like the decline for receivers. I mean, look at Cooper Kupp. He's not even, they don't have a trade partner for him. Like, he's going to get released.
Yeah.
He's getting cut. I mean, so that's just kind of the way of the world for some of these receivers. Now you got Asante Samuel Jr. also out there. The knock on him, the criticism is his ability to make open field tackles and that kind of stuff. And he's not a guy you're gonna play press with. But I mean, he's a name.
I like Asante Samuel Jr. I think he's a player that has to go to a right system. I don't think he's a pure outside corner. I think he's more of like that nickel dime type of player. You would use him in a multitude of formations or schematics defensively. The only thing that does concern me is his open field tackling, and he's not that big.
Yeah.
So, if you're 5'9" corner nickel DB, being a nickel and a dime, you're going to be asked to make some tackles in some awkward situations, especially in those 5 DB, 6 DB sets. But on the right team, it does work. Because I look at Jordan Lewis from the Cowboys, who just got paid at the nickel, and he's coming off the year prior to this season. I'm pretty sure he tore his ACL. So it's definitely a lot of money and value at that nickel position, especially in today's NFL with how serious the passing games are. I'm just concerned about his physicality more than anything else.
Yeah, for sure. You got to look. I mean, you can't be a one-trick pony, right? I mean, you got to be a little more versatile. And then that kind of one of those things where at this point of free agency, it's still early enough where it's not like, okay, we're like the last guy getting picked on the kickball field. It's still too early to talk about that. But there are some names. I mean, Stephon Diggs. I mean, he's going from kind of being more outside to kind of a slot guy before tearing that ACL. I mean, he's someone that I don't know. You follow Houston. You're a big CJ Stroud guy. Would you see him?
We all Ohio State guys. I'm just following the guys around the league, man.
Would you like to see him back with the Texans, Stephon?
I would love to see him back with the Texans. Honestly, I think it's a good fit. I think he's a good veteran. Seems like a guy that those players in that locker room, because I don't think at any point last season did it ever feel like he was that diva that people were saying he was in Buffalo. It seemed like the team embraced him really well. So I think going back to Houston would be good. And honestly, I think you can get him on a friendlier deal due to the fact that there's no state income tax. So I think it will work out.
Yeah, for sure. And what happened? Like, didn't he go out Valentine's Day with Cardi B? What happened there?
Yeah. So he's actually Cardi B's, I guess, well, she's married, about to get divorced to Offset, but I guess you could say he's kind of her side piece.
There you go. Interesting. Interesting stuff. Now, Myles Garrett, quick thoughts on Myles Garrett. So he signs this big deal, 4 years, $160 million, $123.5 million guaranteed in that contract. You look at the breakdown. I mean, it's a no trade clause. You would think they would learn after the Deshaun Watson deal, but he gets an incredible deal. And we know how good Myles Garrett is. I mean, he's really top of the food chain at his position. 2024, 14 sacks, 47 total tackles, 22 tackles for loss, 28 QB hits. You look at the 44 pressures. I mean, this is someone who's had double-digit sacks in every season while he's been with the Browns, and 102.5 for his career. He's going to be in Canton wearing a gold jacket one day. But we did a show a couple months ago, and we read his statements during Super Bowl week, and he was saying, I want to win, and I want to be a Super Bowl champion. It was all about winning. And now it's funny. I mean, he goes from, I want to win, I don't believe I can do it in Cleveland, it's not about the money, to, okay, here's $123 million guaranteed. And then he's like, Cleveland rocks, Cleveland. Like, then he's a Brown. He loves being a Brown. So let this be a lesson to anyone out there that when they tell you it's about winning, it's not always about winning. It's about the money. It 99% of the time, not always, but for someone like himself, he didn't really have that many alternatives as far as, I mean, what would teams give up? And we were kind of talking about those packages earlier. But, I mean, you're going to be stuck in Cleveland. I'm not mad at him. Get your money. I mean, they basically look like, okay, he basically said, I want to get separated. I want a divorce. Then they kind of go through, they renew the vows, right? They go through the marriage counseling that we talked about for Matthew Stafford, right?
Yep.
And look, money solves a lot of problems, man. Like if you have money, you got a problem, throw it at that problem, and you're probably going to be okay. And I think that's what Cleveland did with Myles Garrett.
Oh, for sure. That I could only imagine that phone call where Myles is on the phone with his agent, and he's probably talking to her, and he goes, "I don't want to be in Cleveland. I'm ready to get out of here. I said I don't want to be there." And then she goes, "Myles, they're offering you $123 million fully guaranteed without a trade clause." He probably goes, "Well, Cleveland's kind of nice.
Yeah,
you know? Cleveland's all right."
We got the Cavs.
You got the Cavs.
Right? We got that
you know?
river down there.
Exactly.
Yeah, it ain't so
you
bad.
know, it's not too bad. The Cavs are about to maybe be in the Eastern Conference Finals. You know, the winters are harsh, but we'll be okay in Ohio. So he definitely changed his mind once he heard the news. But I also cannot blame him, Doug, because it's the NFL, and that guaranteed money is really, you're not playing for that big number. You're playing for the number with the G on the back of it. How much guaranteed money you're giving me? And $120 million guaranteed, 123 is insane. And honestly, all I can say to this, D-Mac, is I feel bad. Well, actually, I don't feel bad for them. The Cincinnati Bengals are not going to have a Brinks truck big enough to pay Jamar Chase the landslide of money that they're going to have to pay him, because Myles Garrett just reset the market for non-quarterbacks.
Absolutely. It's a fantastic point. I mean, he is the highest paid non-quarterback in the league by a country mile.
Oh my God.
And the funny thing about this too is it's not like you could, if you're Myles Garrett, I mean, I'm not saying he's a fraud. People out there calling him a fraud, right? I mean, get your money. You know my thing. Best player on the worst team with the money versus the championship. Not even close. He could buy how much Lombardi costs? He could buy one.
I could buy 3.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He could go like, how many players sell their Super Bowl rings when they're broke? Buy a bunch of them. You know what I mean? Like Vince Young probably gets Rose Bowl ring. Like there's guys you can get rings for. Like, give me the money. But it's the funny thing about this though is the Browns have done nothing. Right? They've done nothing to add to a roster that went 3-14, tied for the second worst record in the NFL. You have Deshaun Watson's just absolute disaster of a contract, but he gets a raise, and we'll see. And you know what the interesting thing too with the Browns is that they don't have a quarterback. I mean, there's talks that they're probably going to have Kirk Cousins as their QB1. That's the rumors. They're going the Kirk Cousins route, and yeah, I mean, they ended up trading.
Maybe this is Shedeur Sanders.
Oh my goodness!
Or
you need a 6
Cam
degrees
Ward.
of Shedeur Sanders, man. Your brain always comes back to Shedeur Sanders.
D-Mac, what they gonna do?
No, I mean, look, Kirk Cousins is better than DTR. It's better than Kenny Pickett.
Kirk Cousins has no velocity on the ball anymore. Did you see him throw in Atlanta? He literally has no plant and throw. Like, he was throwing interceptions.
No, he's bad. He's not good. He's
physically not
he's not
there.
good for sure. But I mean, like DTR is like. He's like a UFL quarterback, you know, and I love DTR. He's like family to me. He's about to start year 10 for the Bruins coming up. But before we get out of here, a lot of people are talking about Caitlin Clark in this picture that surfaced over the weekend, where clearly she's been put in some work. She's been in the weight room. A lot was made during her rookie season that she was pushed around a little bit, that she needed to add some muscle in the offseason. She still had a great year. She was the rookie of the year, averaged 19.2 points per game, 8.4 assists, 5.7 rebounds. But she's going to even hopefully get better if you're Caitlin Clark, man. She's been shooting threes from the baseline of the other side, just chucking threes. And she's putting in some work this offseason for the WNBA superstar. I mean, you got Angel Reese. I mean, she's lifting like quarter pounders, right? And then she's lifting some weights. So, I mean, who's getting better between the rivalry between those two?
Well, I mean, Angel Reese is at Unrivaled getting coached up by Lisa Leslie. So, I mean, she's trying. Shout out to the McDonald's meal.
Have you tried it? Is it good?
It's just a quarter pounder with barbecue sauce, honestly. So it's not
like
really
fire.
too. Yeah, it's all right. It's good.
That's a gourmet meal for me. That's a gourmet meal for me.
It's a gourmet meal. I mean, nothing's wrong with a nice quarter pounder. If you're too good for McDonald's, you're too good for me. But
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? But I mean, Caitlin Clark, I'm actually happy, D-Mac, that she didn't participate in Unrivaled or any like post WNBA leagues, just due to the fact that she's been playing basketball from her senior year, the NCAA tournament, an entire WNBA season, and then you were going to play even more basketball unrivaled. I was like, oh my God. So I'm glad she was able to take a break, get in the lab, get stronger, because I mean, listen, Asia Wilson's the face of the W right now, but to the LeBron, there has to be a Steph Curry, and that Steph Curry is Caitlin Clark. She is the needle mover in the WNBA. I mean, she's challenging for the face of the WNBA. You see that the Indiana Fever have fully loaded this team with acquisitions. DeWanna Bonner, you added Breonna Turner, Sydney Colson. I mean, this is a loaded.
Don't forget Natasha Howard.
Natasha Howard's on this team. I mean, you re-signed Kelsey Mitchell. I'm telling you, the Indiana Fever are on fire, literally, and this is going to be a significant year for them. And they're going to be in a great rivalry with Chicago. Angel Reese, Courtney Vandersloot, Kia Nurse. It's going to be a pretty solid squad over there in Chicago. Going to be a pretty good rivalry. And so I think her getting prepared in that video shows like she's ready to. She's going to try to win the MVP this year in the WNBA. She's going for it.
Yeah, she's like, hey, hack me now, right? Hack me. But MJ had to do it when the Pistons were roughing him up. Kobe had to do it after Shaq. I mean, you see the grades have to do this, and yeah, I mean, we'll see if she can build up on the great thing about Caitlin Clark. I mean, say what you want, it's tough to even describe it, but when she's on the screen and she's playing, people show up. Yeah. People watch. The NBA has had a lot of talented players throughout their history, but they've never had a ratings needle mover like a Caitlin Clark. Her first season, I mean, 769 points. That's a new rookie record. 337 assists. That was a new rookie record. I mean, she was the fastest player to make 103 pointers in her career. I mean, she was the first rookie to have multiple triple doubles, had 14 double doubles. That was the most by a WNBA guard in history. So you see stuff like that, you're like, hey, this could be the face of the league. But I mean, she's getting buff, man. I mean, Pacers need her for the playoffs. I mean, to go. She's making a run for the Pacers.
She might be the perfect six woman for that Pacers team. Come off the bench. Can I get 5 threes a night, Caitlin? You damn sure could. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and honestly, the biggest story in women's basketball was UCLA beating USC in the Big Ten championship game. UCLA beating USC when it mattered. If you guys have seen Juju Watkins, let me know, because she disappeared in the second half. I haven't seen her since. But no, in all honesty,
the Bruin fan coming out of you. I love it though. I love that you're supporting your squad.
No, I'm just honestly, it looked like Juju Watkins probably was impacted by playing like multiple games in a row.
For sure.
She's the best player I've ever seen, and that includes Caitlin Clark. And I'm not here to pretend I'm like Mr. WNBA like you are.
Stewart though. In college?
No, Breonna Stewart, she went to UConn, right?
Breonna Stewart.
Did she go to UConn?
And obviously, I went to UConn, so I'm a bit biased. But Breonna Stewart went to UConn for most outstanding
and
players.
She won the Liberty. She's the no, but I didn't mean like a career accomplishments.
You're talking about college
I just meant like just seeing someone like holy crap.
Oh,
like,
okay. You're saying
something's good gonna happen when the ball's in her hand. Like, how do you defend that?
Yeah.
You know, and Juju Watkins, after she beat UCLA, she went to the student section. She like 4s down, because UCLA does this thing of like 4s up, because it'll be like 8 clap. So I like that fire in her too, you know. And I see billboards around her all around town. So yeah, Juju Watkins got to get on the Sparks. I think that'd be great for the league,
great for the city.
That's gonna feed families for sure. But I would say my goal for Juju Watkins is UCLA offers her like a $10 million bag. She transfers to UCLA. And she kind of goes down as like a UCLA player. That's my dream. But that's going to do it for this episode of The Big Lead. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMAC_LA. Go follow my man J-Rob. Also subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, comment Luka Magic down below so you're eligible for our jersey giveaway. Giving away a Luka Doncic Laker jersey once we hit 2,000 subscribers. So do that. And until next time, I'm out.